Well, hello there. I finally got a sound level meter so that we can test to see if sound dampening material on PC cases actually works. This is going to be non-scientific, but before we get into that, I want to establish a sound reference as to how loud certain things are around the household in our everyday life. So guys, I'm super excited to hear the difference between sound dampening material inside a PC case versus no sound dampening at all. And this is gonna be non-scientific. We're just gonna have fun with it. I'm excited. Hope you guys are too. Let's begin right after this. It's time to try something new with the K900M mechanical keyboard by Esayan with Kale Brown switches, onboard macro recordings, and absolutely gorgeous RGB illumination with the white frame. Even your dog will go nuts. Check it out in the description below. Alright, so the test subject for this one is the Silverstone KL07 from the Kublai series. I'm using it because it's one of the only cases that I have that has a completely closed off interior, and also it is silenced focus. So we have this really thick noise dampening material applied on all of the side panels. So on the rear side panel, on the front and top, and the main side here. And for the fans, I am basically populating every single fan slot inside of it. So I'm keeping the two stock fans that came with the case. I'm also populating two more 140mm fans at the top, 140mm fan for exhaust, and also there's the one fan for the CPU cooler, plus the GPU. And so that is 6 fans in total. I'm using the Be Quiet Silent Wings 3 140mm fans because I love these fans. They are quiet, so it's not like I'm cheating and stuff, but I will be stressing them out. Thing is, having 2 fans for the top is totally overkill, but the whole idea is to introduce as much airflow and noise as possible and basically see what happens. And to just quickly prove, so we have sound dampening on the top, on the front, and both side panels. So this is how the case comes stock. The interesting thing about this material is it's the thickest I've ever come across on the PC enclosure. As you can see, it's like almost as thick as my finger. Usually sound dampening material is like very thin piece that is dense and just kind of applied on the side panels. But here, Silverstone has gone a different approach where we can actually see those dimples, and I guess they would help to capture the sound waves so they vibrate in between them and will not allow the sound to escape. But this material is interesting. It's almost memory foam like, and it's very porous looking. It's almost like if you were to pour water on here, it will just absorb everything. So the rear side panel is closed and the main build is complete. Alright, so I got my 4 stations for audio set up. So one in front here measuring from how much noise is escaping from this side panel. We got one behind the monitor over here, so facing the rear to see if there's any difference in how much noise is escaping the case based on the airflow from the one exhaust fan. We have one at the front over here and one over here measuring to see if there's any audible difference from the rear side panel. So everything is on equal distance from each other. So now the computer is off, my phone is on silent, everything else in this room is completely off aside from my light, but I don't think that's making any noise anyway. I'm gonna do 3 tests. First of all is to do an ambient sound. So turn off the system and measure the audible dBA at all these 4 locations without the system on. I'm gonna then turn on the system and measure what the dBA is without all the side panels, and then put on all the side panels, measure that, and then take out all the sound dampening materials, like literally rip it off the side panels and see if there's any progression and how that dBA changes. Wish me luck. And one more thing I want to mention is the sound meter level is on a little tripod. I will not be touching it during its recording time. Alright, so the first sound stage is complete, but I realized I made a mistake. Even though all the fans inside the system are running at 100% fan speed, damn you Be Quiet fans, you're way too quiet for this test. The GPU was idling, and therefore I want to increase the fan speed on the GTX 1070 to 100% to give this system as much noise as possible to potentially give me a greater difference between when side panels are on and off and the sound dampening material removed as well. All right, no turning back. Let's get rid of all the sound dampening foam. It's a good thing that it's kind of just glued on there and it's all one thick piece, so I feel like I can just peel it off. It doesn't smell, so that's a good thing. All right, first panel complete. Next panel. Hoping that this would be the easier one for the big panels. Oh yeah. Clean. Bam. So the only thing left to do is put those panels back on and redo the audio test. So just looking at the graphs, the ambient variation in dBA is probably due to different heights of the microphone on where it was placed. So that's understandable, but there is very unique thing that I've discovered here, and that is when the panels are off and we're recording from the rear, the audio is actually quieter when the side panels are not on the case. And I'm thinking that is because when the side panels are on, any audio that escapes goes through the back, versus if the side panels are open, the audio kind of disperses throughout the case and can exit wherever it wants. And therefore, the case is the loudest at the rear when the side panels are completely closed, because there's no other area for the audio to escape. Cool. So the moment of truth has come. Here's the graph. And you can see that without any sound dampening foam, the general system noise levels is higher. The dBA has increased, not by much, by a little bit, more so on the rear and on the left sides versus right and the front, but it has risen. And just to make sure that I was accurate, I tested the ambient room sound as well, and my results were identical to what I tested a few hours prior, so that any differentiation that you will see without any foam removed is associated with the foam removed and not other factors inside the room. But more interestingly, when I turn the GPU fan to 100%, this is really cool because on all sides we see about a 0.9 dBA increase very consistently, as you can see, from rear, right, front, and the left. And this is pretty interesting because as the system gets louder, it seems like the sound dampening material helps to absorb and dampen more of that sound versus when the system is a little bit quieter. So in our example, we shaved about a 0.9 dBA with the GPU at 100% with the foam installed, versus about a 0.5 to 0.6 dBA with just the fans at 100% with the GPU at idle. But with all that said, the dBA difference between foam and no foam is only 0.9 dBA, so that is well within margin of error, even though I try to reduce the variables that could impact those tests. And so I still think that the foam quantifiably has proven to reduce and dampen some of the sound, but we cannot ignore the fact that mathematics tell us that if we are, in that margin of error, that something else could be the factor in tinkering with our results. So what does that mean for your future case buying decision if you are going the silent route? I've always said that choosing the right hardware components is more important if you're building a completely silent system. So choosing quality fans at a lower RPM, maybe avoiding AIOs so you avoid any pump noises and stuff like that. Going with the custom GPU that has a larger heatsink, so maybe doesn't even spin at like idle and low load situations. But that is not to say that the case is not important, and as I've proven today, that slight reduction in the dBA levels with the sound dampening material installed inside the case is something and will help to overall reduce the noise level of your system. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, coming along with me to experience this project together. Made sure that my ambient acoustic levels were the same as when I started, to eliminate any potentially other noise that was introduced into the room. So I'm happy that the ambient acoustic levels were exactly the same as when I started. And so that leads me to believe that the foam, the sound dampening foam, actually works, even though it's only a slight difference of a 0.9 dBA at full system load with GPU and all those fans at 100%. The most interesting finding for me was the dBA readout from the rear without any side panels versus when the side panels were on, as that shows you that there's more audio, or the rear is louder when the side panels are on, because I guess there's nowhere for the sound to escape aside from anything from the back. And that was cool. So, you know, maybe potentially will help you to place your case accordingly based on this data. So guys, I'm Dimitri with Howard Canucks. Thanks so much for watching. This one's a little bit of a long one, but I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next video.